Hey, you geeks! Lopin has put his paw down and insisted that I cover Perrin's furry little problem this week. Frankly, it seems like fate has conspired that this be a surprisingly apt topic to address the state of the world.
There comes a time when all the cosmic tumblers have clicked into place and the universe opens itself up for a few seconds to show you what's possible.
Though, in my own pleasant way of putting it, wolfbrothers in The Wheel of Time raises the ancient, or rather timeless, question of what makes a man a beast, which is fraught with metaphysical significance. Perrin has to face this question in a particular way as he fears losing himself to the rage or the wolf inside him. We'll explore this question by looking at werewolves in Augustine's City of God, wolves in the Norse sagas, and finally consider if the eyes truly reveal the difference between a monster and a man. Spoiler warning through Knife of Dreams. Wolves in the City. Augustine's musings on the reality of werewolves are heavily influenced by his classic Greek education. Specifically, he is thinking about Varro's account of men from Arcadia who swam across a certain pool and were turned into wolves there. If they never fed on human flesh for 9 years, they were restored to human form on swimming back again. He also considers the account of Diminetus, who, on tasting a boy, offered up in sacrifice by the Arcadians to their god Lycatius, was changed into a wolf, and being restored to his proper form in the 10th year, trained himself as a pugilist and was victorious at the Olympic Games. I'm not sure if that's a doping scandal or a redemption arc more unlikely than the Jamaican bobsled team. Augustine considers how the nature or substance of man is fundamentally different from the nature or substance of a wolf. Therefore, he is incredibly skeptical that such a transubstantiation could happen through the intervention of fallen angels, aka demons masquerading as lesser gods. Demons can accomplish nothing by their natural power. Demons do not create real substances, but only change the appearance of things created by the true God, so as to make them seem to be what they are not. Incidentally, we can see the seeds of that Tolkien quote about Sauron's power. The shadow that bred them can only mock. It cannot make, not real new things of its own. Odd how easy it is to find Tolkien's influences when perusing werewolf lore. Augustine theorized that the wolf dream, it was a sort of grand illusion played on the dreamer and those around him by demons. Augustine insists that while such transubstantiations could be done by the one true God, it is not the case of Varro's stories. Those animal transformations are used to glorify lesser gods, and often included the transformed men doing beastly actions, like eating human children or fawning on men of Greek race and persecuting aliens. It is no wonderful thing to be done by the inward influences of demons. Thus, the change itself isn't inherently evil, but rather what purpose the change serves. Like Tolkien's quote on the powers of Sauron is not evil, but when it was reposted by Russian bots across the internet to stir up racist sentiments and distract from Russia preparing to invade Ukraine, then the quote's use is evil. Augustine does not advocate violence against those who dreamed these dreams and refuted their visions through words and reason. He actually writes of Praestantius used to tell that it had happened to his father, who lay in his bed as if sleeping, yet could by no means be aroused. After a few days, he woke up and related the things he had suffered as if they had been dreams, namely that he had been made a sumpter horse.
A newt. I got better.
In full, Augustine's theory sounds in Wheel of Time terms like regular people who had dreamed their way into Teleron-Riyadh. To find the true wolf men, we must look northward. Wolves of the North. Norse mythology is full of tales of men transforming into wild animals, wolves among them, and prophetic dreams. A quick scan of the sagas of Norse mythology will find many parallels to Perrin, the king who gave up ruling his nation because he was infatuated with his magical wife, Eric Bloody Axe, and of course, the Hammer. That is Hammer, meaning form in Old Norse. Men who could change their form and acquire the strength of the beast they travel in were called Hammerhir. Thus, I wonder if the old Shan Chan prophecy, when the Wolf King carries the hammer, isn't Jordan invoking some sort of grand pun, which I doubt will ever fully get played out. We see something very like the wolf dream in the Vatnsdal saga, when Inigmund finally gives in to fate and begins to travel to Iceland, a fate he had been trying so hard to avoid.
Hey, I've seen this one. This is a classic.
He orders 3 Laplanders, or Finns, to scout the land before him. The Finns were locked in a house for 3 days. Then, on the end of the 3rd day, they arose and gave Inigmund an account of where he desired to go. Finns are a race of magical people who live just north of Norway and are always changing one thing into another, particularly skins. Just like the Eilfin and the Elfin in the Wheel of Time. We've seen Perrin use the wolf dream to scout out Trollocs back in the Battle of Emond's Field, but oddly not in the Battle of Malden. Probably his grief prevented him from doing anything like that. Norse mythology also gives us a description of a man who is Wolfhammer, or a berserker, a man of fury and superhuman powers. For example, Skallagrim, the Viking warrior, renowned blacksmith, with incredibly keen eyes, who also killed not his wife, but the woman who was raising his son, with a stone, not an axe. But while unquestionably enraged, Skallagrim's son, Egil, who inherited the berserker streak, committed his first murder with an axe at the ripe age of 11. So we see form or hammer changing powers in Norway weren't directly attributed to their gods, but they had a definite dark edge to them.
Don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
But not without hope. Back in the Valtensdale saga, Thorir Inigmundsson suffered berserker rages against his will. So his brothers decided to help him rescue their kinsman's newborn son, who had been exposed to the elements because he was illegitimate. After saving the child from the brink of death, Thorir raised it as his own and never suffered from berserker rages again. I love Thorir's story for so many reasons. The raw yet positive masculinity, an early usage of the rogue adopts a child trope, and that it logically extrapolates from the Greeks. If killing and eating a human child turns one into a werewolf, then saving and raising a child will transform a werewolf back into a man.
Give me a word. Any word, and I show you how the root of that word is Greek.
But hope is not universal, even in the Vatnsdal saga. The first bishop of Iceland converted the majority of the Vatnsdal people by helping them kill 2 berserkers with fire and clubs. Those berserkers were unpopular with men because they ordered them to give up their women or their wealth, or else challenge them to a duel. They howled like dogs and gnawed on the ends of their shields and walked barefoot on burning coals.
So hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband.
The idea of killing the berserkers originated with Thorkel the Pagan, but the bishop organized it on condition that those assembled would be baptized. The bishop wasn't sainted for this massive conversion, yet here starts the Christians burning monsters and witches stories, the archetype which Missima fulfills in The Wheel of Time. We also have the tale of Bjorn, son of King Hring, a berserker of sorts, who was killed in pre-Viking Denmark. King Hring, in his old age, had remarried to a young princess of the Finns. When the woman became queen, she set her eyes on Bjorn, the king's young, attractive son. When Bjorn spurned her love for that of another, the queen then struck him with her wolfskin gloves, telling him to become a cave bear, grim and savage. Bjorn became a bear by day and a man by night.
I was transformed into a bear, magically.
It's as if Tolkien and Jordan split this myth up evenly. Tolkien got the bearskin changing dude, and Jordan got the love triangle. Bjorn spurned the queen for his love of a commoner named Bera. In true Jordan fashion, Bera Lane is now the spurned queen, though Fail was only pretending to be common. This tale also somehow ties back in with the Greek werewolves and the question of cannibalism. But the shoe is on the other foot, for Bjorn as a bear gets hunted down by his father, the king, and the queen tries to make Bera eat the flesh of the bear, which she does, and things do not go well. It's theorized that the historical Bjorn Hringsson just arose in a rebellion against his father, which is why Hring hunted him down. This parallels Perrin's supposed rebellion in Andor, though he has no fear of being hunted down by his father, since his father is dead. This tale has one last important tie to the wheel. Gateway to the Soul. Bera is able to recognize Bjorn as a bear because of his eyes. She recognized in the bear the eyes of Bjorn, the king's son. Footnote: human-like eyes were a sign that animals either were enchanted humans or were possessed by spirits of the dead. I've always found it intriguing that some people see Perrin's golden eyes, the eyes of a wolf, as a sign that he is shadow spawn. Uneasy murmurs ran through the men behind Missima, and they eyed one another and shifted their weapons. Perrin caught muttered curses, also yellow eyes and shadow spawn. Even though Borderlander men, like Missima, should know that shadow spawn have human eyes. On the other squatted his Trollocs, 20 in number, the all-too-human eyes in those animal-twisted men's faces. Thus, it is not the form of a partial beast, part man, that makes Trollocs evil, but rather what Trollocs do in their form. And what they do is the classic werewolf move, eat people.
What happened in your dream?
Food eats people. Also, Momo could talk.
Or in Bjorn's case, evil takes a human form in the queen when she tricked the whole court into eating Bjorn's flesh. Wolfman stories show a desperate struggle to understand men who are driven to a sort of madness by their dreams not understood. Jordan uses Perrin to explore what makes a monster. Perrin's form, his hammer, is just the madness that Perrin has to live with on account of being Tarviran. The madness does not make him a monster because he, at a minimum, doesn't eat people. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you would like to see more. Your patronage is greatly appreciated.